What is up, Sneeples? The Bright Light Spoiler Weekend is here. It finally showed up. I'm super excited for it. We're going to cover all the Friday spoilers in this video here, so stick around. And then tomorrow we're going to get to Saturday, and the next day after Sunday, we're going to have all the spoilers right here. So let's get into it. All right, now before we really get going on this, yes, there has been spoilers before this. And yes, we do have a video with that, and it even includes some deck text, but we don't have it out yet. So just be patient. That's coming out. Let's get into the Friday spoilers. First one we have, given us by Dice Commando, Scrap Trader, a Majestic Mechanologist action, costs 0, pitches for red, and blocks for 2, and has Scrap ability twice. So let's read what Scrap is. This is a new ability that comes out in Bright Lights. As an additional cost to play this, you may banish an item or equipment from your graveyard. So you'd have to do it twice. Or you can choose to do it twice because it is a May ability. And then you gain 2 resources for each card that is scrapped. So basically you're paying 0 to get anywhere from 2 to 4 resources. Now if you pay 0 to get 2 resources, that basically means it's yellow pitch. But you do put a card from your banish zone into your graveyard. Not terrible. However, if you're able to do it twice, then it becomes even greater than a blue pitch, and then it's a purple pitch. I don't know. It's 4 resources. And when we're looking at certain cards and certain like heavy resource decks like Teklovasin, this is a card that you might want to have. So Scrap Trader working very well. Next up, we have us. We have our SNEEP spoiler. Let's get into it. We had 2. First one is a common, so expect to see this in all 3 colors. This is Outpace. This is a 1 cost, and the red pitch is a 4 attack, 3 block, reads boost, and this can't be defended by equipment. So basically this is a 1-for-4 boost that makes it where the equipment can't be used to defend. Now typically that's very mediocre and not great, but when we're looking at a limited format, or if Teklovasin or Evo's equipments become pretty big in the meta, then this is a card that has relevancy. Because oftentimes you're going to have to take kind of a turn off attacking to build up your Evo's equipment, and Outpace is basically trying to do just that. It's trying to outpace the opponent and go faster. So that's what we have there. Our other card was Lay Waste. Basically what we're looking at is the same thing, just different on the cost. Another common, the red pitch is a 2 cost 5 attack that blocks for 3. And boost just can't be defended by equipment. So these cards are, you're paying that extra resource so that they can't defend with equipment, and that's kind of mediocre until you start looking at Evo's equipment. So in limited, I think this card could be fairly decent and fairly something that would help you like go into a certain hero, possibly. We'll see. Next up, from IGN, they give us quite a bit. We'll go over each of the equipment first. So the first thing we have is, these are all Majestics, by the way. This is Evo Steel Soul Memory. Now, this is a blue pitch that costs 4, blocks for 3, and let's read it. If you have a base head equipped, transform it into this, then equip this. When this transforms from or into an Evo with a different name, your hero gets +1 intelligence until the end of turn. If that Evo is a hero, instead, this triggers twice, and it has temper. So we've seen this actually before. This was like one of the original spoilers, but we didn't really see that if that Evo is a hero, it triggers twice. So that's kind of telling on what we might be seeing. This seems something similar to the new Levia Redeemed, where it's kind of like a demi-hero. That might be something similar to what we're getting here. But either way, you get an intelligence, or you get 2 intelligence, which is insane. Let's see the other ones. Now, next up, Evo Steel Soul Processor. This is the chess piece, the #1 chess piece that was really speculated on, because this means if you're running this chess piece, you're not running Teklo Foundry Heart. So it's better. It better be better, right? So let's see. If you have a base chest equip, transform it, and then equip this. When this transforms from or into an Evo with a different name, gain 3 resources. Very, very good, especially when it costs 4 to do. So it basically makes it only cost 1. If that Evo is a hero, instead this triggers twice. So then it just paid for itself and you got a bonus for doing it. And of course it has temper. Yeah, that's pretty good. That is very, very good. And I could see why you'd want to have a base equipment to turn into this. So yeah, very, very good. Next up, the Evo Steel Soul Controller, that being the arms. Again, blue pitch, majestic, that costs 4, blocks for 3. And again, you transform it from a base equipment. Now this one is when you transform it, you may put an attack action card with 6 power from your graveyard into your deck, 5th from the top. If it is a hero, you trigger that twice. Now 5th from the top is interesting. Basically what that means is that most times you're only drawing 4 cards, so that card will be on top for the turn after. However, if you have the headpiece that gives you that +1 intelligence, then you're drawing that 5th card, and then that makes sense. That actually adds up. Okay, and then yeah, if you transform it from a hero, you're drawing that 6th card, but you're also getting 6 intelligence, so that still adds up. Next one, the Evo Steel Soul Tower. The legs here, all the same text, all the same costs, all the same rarity. When this transforms from or into an Evo, different name, gain 1 action point. If it goes to a different hero, 2 action points. So very, very interesting here. Very, very interesting here that we're seeing, these these are just really, really good. Like temper 3 is just really good. Now let's talk about the big one here, and that is Singularity. Singularity is a majestic. It is a red pitch. It costs 6, blocks for 3. Mechanologist action construct. Legendary Techlovoston specialization, which means you can only have 1. Transform your hero, your weapon, and 4 Evos you have equipped into, we don't know. It's a barcode. They're holding that out, but that's gotta be the new Demi hero, where it's not a full-on hero, but it's kind of like a side package hero, just like Livia Redeemed. And gotta wonder what that is. This being his specialization, it's pretty damn big. So very excited for it. Very excited to see what this actually turns into, and how fun Techlovoston might become from this. I'm very, very interested. Very interested. So that might be one of the hypest spoilers today. But let's get into it. We have so many more, so let's keep going. Next up from Block Out Party, we have Technonetic Force Field. Now, I was able to see his video. He actually was supposed to spoil Firewall, but the professor did. Luckily, LSS realized his problem, gave him Technonetic Force Fields, which is another common. The red pitch costs nothing. It's a block card. It blocks for 3. This is a whole new mechanic. It's a whole new type of card. When this defends an attack with overpower, it gets +2. So these are cards that don't cost anything, but their only function is to block. So that's what you're getting out of here. It's still mechanologist card, so if you boost it, you're still able to get that action point back. Next up from Instant Speed Podcast, aka Flake. This is Steel Street Enforcement, a majestic block card. So blue pitch on this one, only blocks, and then has an ability Evo upgrade. While this is defending, it gets +X defense, where X is the number of Evos you have equipped. So it starts with 1, but so if you have 3 Evos equipped, then you're looking at kind of like a blue pitch sink below, which is pretty good. If you just have 2, then you're looking at basic block, that's a blue pitch. But if you have all 4, then this is a free 5 block. Pretty damn good. All right, definitely a Techlovoston card for sure. Next up from the Spike Feeders, we have Sprocket Rocket. Great name. A common card that the red pitch is a 0 cost 3 attack 3 block boost. So it's a mechanologist attack action, and if an item or equipment was banished from boosting this, so this card exactly, it gets +1. So while you're boosting for this card, if you banish an item or equipment, it's going to be a 0 for 4 with go again. So like a 0 to 60 again. So it's either a yellow 0 for 60 or a red 0 for 60, depending on what you boost. And then they also got dumpster dive, which is like a red zipper hit or a yellow zipper hit, because it's the same deal. It's a common. Red pitch is a 1 for 4 attack that 3 blocks boost. Attack action that if an item or equipment was banished, it gets +1. So, great limited cards, I think. Next up from TCG Player, we get War Machine. Now, we actually have seen this card before, but now we see it in this art style. But just a reminder, it is a Majestic. It is a red pitch. This one costs 6. It comes in for 6 and it blocks for 3. So those are terrible stat lines. But it gets better for each Evo's equipment you have. So if you have 1, it gets, when it hits a hero, destroy all cards in their arsenal, so it becomes a Command and Conquer. But that's a 6 cost Command and Conquer. What? However, if you have 2 or more Evos, then it costs 3 less. Now it's a 3 cost Command and Conquer. Not the worst, not the best. If you have 3 or more, it gets Overpower. Okay, so Pseudo Dominate. And then if you have 4 or more Evos equipment, it gets +3. So then it becomes a 3 for 9 that destroys an arsenal, and it has Overpower. So pretty damn good if the Evo's equipment works out. Again, looks more like a Teklo Vossen card, but who knows, he might not be the only guy doing the Evo's equipment. Next up from Stackswell, a friend of the podcast, friend of the channel, we got Scrap Harvester. This is a common. The red pitch version is a 6 attack 3 block, and it costs 3. It has scrap, so as additional cost, you may banish an item or equipment from your graveyard. And then when this attacks, if it scrapped a card, put a steam counter on an item you control with Crank. So if you're getting a lot of items that have Crank, this is a great card, but also this is a popper for Mechanologist, another popper to choose from. So pretty damn good. Doesn't have boost, but it is a popper, and sometimes that's all you really need, especially if you're a tanky build. Okay, from the M&R cast, we get Heist. This is a Majestic red pitch that costs 2 and blocks for 3 and attacks for 5. It has boost, and when this hits a hero, you may put an item with cost 0 or 1 from any banished zone into the arena under your control. Now that one's pretty damn huge because it literally said any banished zone. It didn't say yours. It didn't say, it just usually would say yours. But the fact that it says any is actually pretty gnarly. That makes it a great card for limited, like probably a bomb for limited, but also a very interesting card, especially for mirror matches, Mechanologist mirror matches in Blitz or CC. So a 2 for 5 is pretty undervalued, but when you look that it could also give you an item from a banished zone into your arena, that's kind of interesting, kind of cool. Be interested to see how many items are around to make that super relevant, but I have a feeling a lot will be. Okay, next up from Push the Point, we have Scrap Compactor. This is a common. The blue version is a 0 pitch, 1 attack, 3 block. So the red's probably going to be 3 attack. And it says Scrap. And then it also has when this attacks, if it scrapped a card, you may play your next Evo this turn as though it were an instant. So a great way to be able to get a free action to play your Evo's equipment. So not too bad, not terrible, not great. It's a common, so you wouldn't expect it to be amazing, but not too bad. Next from Strike for 7. First time I'm hearing about these guys, so giving them some support. This is a rare that we will probably see in all 3 colors. The blue pitch comes in for 1, blocks for 3, and it only costs 0. and it has scrap, and it says when this attacks, if it's scrapped a card, create a quicken token, which is kind of interesting. You don't really expect mechanologist cards to create quicken token, just because most of the time they're going to be boosting to get that extra turn or that extra action point. But this allows you not having to, and also we've already seen quite a bit of cards that don't have boosts, such as the scrap harvester, the scrap compactor. You know, these cards with scrap don't seem to be boosted, so this is the way that you can continue playing multiple mechanologist cards in a turn without you having to boost. Next up, from the Fabled Hunters, we get Annihilator Engine, which is a super cool looking card. So this one's a little bit different than the War Machine that we saw, but a lot of the same sort of mechanics. This is another Majestic. It's a red pitch, 6 cost, 6 attack, and 3 block. When you only have 1 Evos equipment, when it hits a hero, destroy all cards defending this, which is interesting. I'm sure that's going to have some relevancy, but it's interesting to kind of see what that entails. If you have 2 or more Evos, then it costs 3 less, so then it becomes a little bit more affordable. If you have 3 or more, it gets overpowering. If you have 4 or more, it gets +3. So just like with the War Machine, it kind of has those same mechanics. Just the only one being different is the first one. Okay, from On the Bobble, we have Panel Beater, a common card. The red version is a 2 cost, 5 attack, 3 block boost, and it has this gets +X. Its power or on its attack, where X is the number of equipments defending it, which is pretty relevant again when you're looking at a very heavy Evos equipment field, whether that be in limited or even in constructed. Or so if you're expecting to see a lot of that could work outside of limited, but I think this would be a great limited card. 2 for 5 with boost is okay, but I like the effect. It could even be a 2 for 6, 2 for 7, who knows. Next, from Kapalo, we have another series of Evos equipment, which I was very happy to see. Obviously, you can't draft Majestic Evo's equipment. They had to come out with some rares. Here we go. We got a rare. It's a yellow pitch. I kind of feel like that's all it's going to ever be. It's going to only be yellow pitches. And it costs 3, blocks for 3. Instead of Temper, this one has Blade Break, so very interesting. And it says, you can equip it if you have a baseline equipment, right? And once per turn instant, destroy a card under this. So you would destroy your base equipment. Your next weapon attack this turn gets, when this hits, draw a card. So a very interesting sort of type card. Allows you to destroy your base equipment, which who knows, that might just be necessary if you drawing a card would be so much of a tide changer to win the game. So that is the headpiece. The chest piece has all those abilities, same cost. This one just being you can destroy the base chest underneath it, and your next weapon attack costs 1 less. So we're seeing a theme here. The arms, destroy the card underneath, your next weapon attack gets +1. Again, Blade Break and everything else. And then finally the legs, destroy a weapon or destroy a card underneath your weapon. Destroy a card underneath this, you may attack an additional time with target weapon this turn. So that is what we're looking at with all those new Evos equipment that are not the Majestic, but instead the rares. So what I suspect we're going to get some commons, and they're going to be red pitches. So we'll see. All right, next up from Haydendale, we get Fabricate. Another Majestic here. This one's a 0 cost red pitch. It is an instant, so no attack, no block. You choose to equip a base equipment with Pronto in its name from your inventory. So inventory is like sideboard. Evo permanents you control get +1 defense this turn. Put this under an Evo permanent you control, or you may banish an Evo from your hand if you do draw a card. So just a really nice instant to basically give you a surplus of options to choose from depending on where you're at in the game, what you need. you know, it being an instant, maybe getting the +1 is really good, but I really like that putting the Evo permanent U control, or putting it under an Evo permanent U control, that kind of makes sense, especially when we just saw the rare Evos. That means you don't have to destroy your base equipment. You can just destroy the Fabricate card, and that will allow you to have the effect without destroying your base equipment, which is pretty nice. So I don't know, I really like this card. I think it's a great card. Next up, from Fluke Inbox, we have System Failure, and this is the last one of Friday. So System Failure is a Majestic yellow pitch that costs 1. It's a mechanologist action, so it only blocks for 2, has no attack, and it says remove all steam counters from target equipment, item, or weapon. If 2 or more steam counters are removed this way, deal 2 damage to its controller. I love the name. The art looks great for what the card actually is. Very well done, and you know, just a way that mechanologists can deal some non-attack damage, basically, which is interesting. As we all know, like, that sometimes just win games. If you ever played against a Reckless Wing, you'll know sometimes that unblockable damage means a lot. So cool that mechanologist gets it. Okay, that's all the cards. Ton of cards for Friday, a lot of hype. We've seen a ton of Majestics. We saw 2 Evos equipment sets. We saw a Tekla Vossen Legendary Specialization, but we haven't seen the rest of it, so very interesting to see what that turns out to be. And we saw a lot of comments, so we get to see a little bit how the limited format's gonna look. Guys, we're gonna be like doing this the next 2 days, giving out all the spoilers that come out all in one big recap. So if you missed any, you can see them right here. But until then, keep on fabbing.